In this video, I'm making a giant chopping board out of scrap plywood. Thanks for clicking play, and welcome to my bomb shelter basement workshop, where I'm in the middle of a Christmas video. But my sister has asked me for a chopping board, and I've got loads of scrap plywood left over from the wine stand video. So I'm thinking, scrap plywood, giant chopping board, that's what she's getting for Christmas. Let's go! We have two different types of plywood here. We've got the really nice stuff that my friend Jack gave me. And then we've got the really cheap stuff that I always use. Because it's present, I want to try use nice stuff. I'm looking at the cuts I've done so far, and I'm not confident it's going to look wild and jazzy like my previous projects. So I've got some more wood. I'm going to make a proper one, like a proper pattern, not a random one. It also means I can use the scrap wood for my own chopping board. That's the real reason, come on. I'm not very good at doing glue-ups. This one is a bit uneven, it's not perfectly flat, but we'll be able to take care of that with a sander. Before I move the fence on my table saw to start chopping this thing up, I'm going to chop some additional strips at the exact same width. I nearly didn't get that out, did I? Now the extra strips are cut, it's time to chop this beast up. They're all cut, and it took quite a while because they are massive chunky blocks, and I've got a really cheap cutting blade. If you want to do it quicker and better, get a better blade. I just don't like spending money. Now, as I mentioned earlier, my glue up wasn't perfectly straight, so I'm going to put my nice blade on there and run them through so they're all perfectly smooth. These are all now perfectly smooth, but technically we've changed the size. I'm going to have to run my wooden strips through so they're identical in height. Next we're gluing these up two at a time in a chevron pattern, and you will find out why later. They're all pointy at the top. Some of them have a gap on the bottom. We've got to make them straight first. To the chopping saw! Let's go! Free throw! Let's roll! Act like I got cheat codes! Before we stick this together, let's make it a little more interesting. Originally, I was just going to have these in one solid piece, and then put the thin blocks of wood in between them, and it'll make an interesting pattern. Well, then I thought to myself, if I cut the piece of wood in half and turn it round, the pattern becomes even more interesting. And now that I have cut it, I've realised there's multiple combinations. So I don't know which pattern to go for. Before I do start gluing it up, we just trim these down to make them flat, so they've lost a tiny bit of height. So I need to trim these down, so make sure they are exactly the same. It just saves on work afterwards. I was just about to glue this thing up, and I was looking at it and it looked weird. And it looked weird because I don't have straight lines. I don't know why, but the cuts on the edge of these aren't a perfect right angle, so when I put them together, they're kind of doing that. But I've also found some pieces that are actually different sizes, but no idea how that happened because they all went through the same spacing on the table saw. I just can't cut straight lines. I don't know what it is. So I'm gonna try sort these ones out first and see if that solves most of the problems. Nice.
What the fuck? What the fuck? Not bad. Not bad. How the fuck? How is that possible?
Like I got cheat codes. Let's go. Free throw. Like I got cheat codes.
Not a single one of these is completely flat like I was hoping. So let's just glue the thing together and see how bad it is at the end. This thing's going to be an absolute beast. I'm going to trim the edges off so it's straight first. I've also got to scrape the glue off. Then I'm going to use the belt sander and see if we can make it flat. And if that doesn't work, I'll need to use the router jig, which I don't want to do because it always goes wrong. I was just going to attack this with the belt sander to see if I could save it. Whilst scraping the glue off, I realised I definitely need to get out the router jig.
Seriously, what the fuck? This side here slides dead easy. This side doesn't want to move. I genuinely hate this. So look at that. It is completely fucking useless. Like, look at this section here. There's a lip. There's a lip. All these burnt sections. So it's a little better, but it's not much better at all. I couldn't go up to the edges because I keep hitting the metal, especially on this side. Yeah, there's still lines in it. This kind of stuff makes me want to stop doing woodwork. Like, it's crap, but it's all flat. And then you get to this section, and there's a step there, and there's a step there, and it just keeps on going higher for absolutely no reason.
When I've cut the blocks, I cut them perfectly straight. When I cut the angles perfectly straight. And then when I stuck them together, they weren't perfectly straight. Like, all that work I did, it should have just stuck completely flat first time. I shouldn't have to be using the jig. Oh, it's just so annoying. And it's potentially ruined this thing. And Christmas is 2 days away. It's physically not possible to cut flat all the way and then just not cut flat. I've jammed it in reverse. I need to get that chunk flat and then I'm just gonna hammer it with the sander. Otherwise, I'm gonna quit doing this. I'll just give her one that I made last year. Somehow, the router bit just keeps moving. The chuck is completely tight. I guess it's worn out or something. Oh yeah, as I was going along, the router bit has moved upwards on its own.
And things get worse. This wood is quite expensive, I've been told. It's perfect, there's no gaps or imperfections. But somehow, my router has managed to rip holes in it. There's another one, there's another one. It's ripped holes in this perfectly nice wood that I'm gonna have to fill. I don't want to do this. So this is the edge I've just cut against a flat piece. That is so bent, there is nothing straight about that edge, one bit. Still not perfect, but that's gonna have to do because I don't give a fuck anymore.
Now that the edges are cut, I'm actually not too far away from finishing this. I really needed to give this thing an epoxy coat tonight to let it dry for 24 hours, but I need to give this more sanding to remove the router lines out of it. I need to stop for today. This one's wound me up too much. This project is quite clearly cursed. There is no other explanation for it. Every single corner is burnt to death. I literally just got that router bit 30 minutes ago. Not only is it burnt the edges, it's rough and horrible. It's uneven. I don't know what's going on. I'm just gonna sand it and hope it... Yeah. Before I do that, I need a juice groove. It's Christmas Eve, this still needs to dry out a bit and then I need to wrap it, but it is complete. Obviously, lots of little things have gone wrong on this video and they weren't too bad, but I really wanted this one to be like one of my first proper nice projects that I completed. The wood blocks not being straight was annoying. My router jig not cutting straight. The routed corners just setting on fire. And I've actually forgot to put handles in it. Well, I kind of forgot, but at the same time, I don't have the right router bits. Apart from that, it does look super cool. I am quite proud of this one. You just keep looking at it from different angles and it makes your eyes do funny things. There it is, another Christmas present done. If you made it this far, give yourself a pat on the back. As usual, if you've got any tips, questions or suggestions, stick them in the comments below. It would be really cool if you could subscribe. The Rare Craftsman just let me know that I hit 1,000 subscribers, which is crazy. Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you very much. I guess I should do some sort of 1,000 subscriber video. I've got an idea. We'll do something. Yeah, hope you have a good Christmas. See you in the new year.